Iain, thank you so much for joining us today. Obviously, your name's been spoken about by the gaffer, but we've not really seen your face too much, so yeah, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's been 17, 18 months of me being here, and it's the first interview that I've done on camera. Everyone's mostly seen me on the question and answers that I do once a year, but it's important for me to come to the camera and speak to the supporters just as much as other things as well. So yeah, no, it's a good opportunity for me to have a talk. Yeah, 17 months it's been really quick, Ethan. To be honest, it's been super quick, but enjoyable. Lots of ups actually, and not so much downs. It's more of it's been a good ride so far.
Yeah, and in that space of time, what would you say has been the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge is just generally helping run a football club. It's not easy. I mean, Barrow started when I first came in. It started off being third, fourth bottom, 2 seasons in the EFL, and literally I started with a blank canvas. Speaking to the chairmans, the owners, it's sort of one of them where I had to get off to a start that I knew that I could help improve the club. So yeah.
And one of the first things you did was bring the gaffer, and just how much of a no-brainer was that decision for you?
Yeah, massive no-brainer. I mean, I knew Pete as a professional level, I would say. It wasn't more of a private, even though I was an agent before and I'd known a lot of managers and things like that. Pete came as soon as I got the job, and I saw the surroundings of Barrow, understanding the stadium, the supporters a little bit, and the owners. Someone like a Pete was an absolute no-brainer for me, and he was my number one target. And being my number one target, maybe a bit of a learning curve as well, because I didn't actually have a B&C. I was so set on Pete Wild joining Barrow, just because of where it sat in my head, that I had to try and make it happen, and luckily I did, and everyone can see what's happening right now.
Yeah, I suppose, like you say, with starting the blank canvas, that's the perfect opportunity. I mean, really, so bring in a new young manager as well at the time, so that the club, it feels like it's all going the same direction. Yeah,
of course. I mean, Pete's got ambitions. I've got ambitions. When I took the job, from an outsider looking in, you look and go, this could be a banana skin for me. Like taking my first role as a sporting director. Yeah, I mean, myself and Pete are just ambitious people. What I wanted to bring Pete in, because we're from the same cloth a little bit. We just want to win, and I know for a fact that when I came in and it was a blank canvas, that someone along those lines had to have the same mentality. And Pete, wanted to be in the EFL. We gave him the opportunity to do that, and we're reaping the rewards right now, because we're heading in the right direction.
And with him being, like you said, your A target, the really only target which you had your eyes set on, was there any particular reason for that one thing which made you pick Pete?
I think it's relationships. Knowing that when I've dealt with Pete on players, for example, as my previous life as an agent, you just click with people, and Pete certainly got that about him, and that ambition and that drive. It just suits me. It suits me. It's someone that we can put our heads together, and we come out with an outcome at the end of it. We have debates, we talk a lot, we speak every day pretty much. Maybe after the games I let him sort of de-stress because it's match days and stuff, but pretty much all the way through during the week we see each other, we talk to each other. So it's an intense relationship at times, in a good way, and my role is all about communication as well, and managing, and Pete certainly is someone that fits alongside me, so it's good.
And speaking about communication, how does your data activities link up with the owners?
I speak to the owners every day. That's only a positive. They're successful guys. For me, I'm not going to sit in the driving seat that I'm in with the football club. I'm not going to sit there and not dive into successful people. I know it's football and theirs is business, but you can balance certain things in life and pick things that you need to pick from. And I'm not naive enough to think that I know everything. So yeah, I speak to them every day. We pick each other's brains about bits and bobs, but theirs is sort of just making sure everything's okay, and just generally just seeing just seeing how things are. So it's all caring things, and it's all positive. All conversations when I speak to them is positive, and it's just they want the club to do so well, just as much as the staff, myself, so the supporters. So yeah, we haven't got endless pots of money, and I have to be respectful to that of the owners and stuff as well. It's hard earned money, all of them. Even the trust have to work hard to put some of the bits of theirs in, and so yeah, it's that sort of way that we are.
And speaking of the owners, obviously play a big part in things like summer business. And how do you reflect upon our summer business a few months down the line?
Yeah, I think our summer's been excellent. Again, that comes down to organisation, comes down to work ethic, comes to planning properly, having a direction of where we want to take the team. When I first came in the summer, it was sort of very much one of those conversations early doors where it was hard to get players to come to Barrow. It was a hard sell because my levels were up here, Pete's levels were up here of who we wanted to bring in, and possibly we couldn't really get there because we were still Barrow, and people were like, oh, I don't want to be in a relegation battle. So it took a lot of networking, a lot of connections that myself and Pete had, and putting our heads together, and then flipping on to 12 months later, the conversation completely changed. It was literally like, yeah, I'd come. And so it was more about, we were picking who we wanted, and we had lists of like 3, 4 players in the end, where if that person didn't come, the next one sort of rolled up and there was a conversation there. But you know, it's certainly been a quick turnaround in a short space of time.
I suppose it shows how quickly it was to get going straight away when you and Pete had come in to have that positive first season. So when you're looking forward to the summer we just had, you have, like you say, you're having those players who are saying, yeah, I'd love to sign for Barrow.
Well, when I first came in, I had to release players as well. So I released some of the players before the manager was announced and stuff, just generally because time was ticking and we needed to get things done. And then as soon as Pete was announced the manager and we were able to get the deal over the line, it was all hands to the pump a little bit. But we knew. I know how Pete thinks and works, and so it was an easy process. Apart from, we were just building a team that we could have a successful, a meaningful season, giving the supporters a bit of a break, because that's the only thing that the owners kept on saying to me before was, you know, the relegation battles. You know, that's not good every Saturday. It's not good for your old ticker. So we wanted to put that in place, and you know, I think we put a team together in the first season, the best that we could, and you know, the season that's just gone now has been even better.
And it's great to see the players you brought in aren't just good footballers, but there seems to be such a positive feel around the place, and the gaffer always talks about just how much of like a close-knit squad this really is. That's
driven from Pete, character-wise. It's driven. Pete's a good guy. Wears his heart on his sleeve, would help anybody. From that mentality to bring those types of people into the building was a big driving force, and for me it was 100% behind that. Good people do stand by your side, and they do get that extra 10% when you need to do that. So the character, even the young boys, you know, if everyone has a little look at what we even did with loans, Harrison Neal was a captain of Sheffield United, Sam McClellan, captain of Chelsea, you know, Stevenson. Now you're looking, and he was captain of Liverpool once, 21. So it was the types of players and stuff that you know, we did push for to help us get over the line. We had going back a little bit, we had a little bit of a sticky point, didn't we, over the Christmas period last season. And I think that with a bit more experience, a bit more roll your sleeves up, hopefully this season that's gonna actually get us over that sort of wave.
Yeah, I mean, in the present, it just seems that there's like the perfect mix of where you've got a certain chunk of the group who, you know, are quite like experienced pros, have done that for a long time. You've also got a few younger players, you know, up and coming, and you've got those players to kind of put a shoulder on them and, you know, guide them through those times where times do go rough.
Well, you've got prime example of Emil Aqua and Jamie Proctor, needing to learn, still raw, attributes that people would die for. And then, you know, 23, just turned 23 years of age. Then you turn to Jamie Proctor at possibly sort of the other end of the scale a little bit, where he's putting an arm around him in training and showing him how to back himself up against a player, how to be a bit more aggressive, and that will come over time. It's not an instant thing. And then you've got Foles, Sam Foley, when in the middle of the park, and you've got a young Iain Spence. I think it was the other game I watched, and I actually didn't go back into the room. I actually stayed out, and I could see Sam was actually talking to some of the players, and this was at half time, and you could see him putting his arms about. That's the mix that we do have, and I can go even on and on with other players and stuff, but even I personally text some of the players and keep them saying how impressive, shall I say, that they have been with some of the younger players. So yeah, no, it's good. It's a good mix. We've got a good mix.
In terms of the recruitment side, obviously, like, you can watch all the clips you want and analyse the statistics or whatever. Yeah. But in terms of bringing in good people, like, how difficult is it to actually like read a person in that short space of time?
People will say you get that instant vibe, but it's hard, isn't it? Someone's trying to look for a contract, so you do have to look through. But that comes with contacts. That comes from not just myself, but from Pete to Adam Temple to Jason Taylor, Josh Lewis, Joe Harvey. It's all of those people that go and have a conversation with the agents, with the scouts, people they've played for. So you get all of that into the mix, and then once you sit in front of them and start talking, of course, people can make up, but someone can't really come in and be completely different. Otherwise, in this setting that we've put together, people get found out and the players will call them out, and maybe even, it's a learning curve for those players. So it's just a lot of due diligence and a bit of sort of digging deeper, shall I say, into them.
And it seems like from that kind of perspective that the foundations are there for certain players. There are even things you like to think that the group will still be as solid as they were, no matter if personnel change. But in terms of longer ambitions for the club, what are your longer term goals then?
It's hard because we've moved really quickly. Like in 17 months since I've been here, we've moved so far. I think even down to professionalism, to structure, to organisation. Sometimes you can't go too far in front just because of how far we've moved quickly now. I'd like to ring off everything of what you would like to do. We'd like to have our own training grounds. We would like to have our own academy. There's loads of things that you can say, but right now it's all about baby steps, and we need to get the stuff solid on the pitch. We need to be that consistent League 2 team pushing. Everyone wants League 1. We would, that's the main aim. But we've also got to get there, and we have to be a little bit prepared for that at some point as well. And yeah, so it's just baby steps, Ethan. It's one of them where League 1 is the aim, of course it is, but we just have to be sort of just what's the word? Not reserved, but we just have to take our baby steps with it at the moment.
I suppose just trusting the process of what's going on now. Like you say, the club's come so far in the space of time. It's just keeping the focus and just keep moving in the right direction, and hopefully that, like you said, does lead you to League 1 eventually. Yeah,
I think it's what do I say? I think from us moving forward, I think that everyone can see that is the case. I just genuinely think that we just need to continue putting those feet one foot in front of each other, and we'll get to where we want to get to.
And going away a bit from Barrow and talking a bit more about you, so how would you say your role compares here at Barrow to maybe someone at a Premier League job doing a squad director?
So one of the first, it must have been about 6 months in the role, and actually know Dan Ashworth from my Brighton days. I'm from Brighton, and Dan was the technical director maybe, or sporting director at Brighton. Moving to Newcastle, I just gave him a call and just said if I could actually come and have a chat, just to dive into his side as well. And the roles are very similar, it's just on a different level. Dan wouldn't do half the things, to be fair, what I do, which, I've had my other half, she's come in and cooked. Can't see that really happening at Newcastle. painting walls to making sure everything's in place. So at the League Two level, obviously you've got to roll your sleeves up if you want to. At our size of a club, should I say, with we haven't got the biggest staff and everything behind the scenes, so it's pretty much roll your sleeves up. So yeah, on the day-to-day sort of stuff, it's very similar to everyone else. It's just a bigger calibre. Dan will have loads and loads of phone calls and meetings every single day, whereas myself isn't particularly like that. I can be a bit more hands-on in the training ground on a day-to-day basis, because we haven't got such a big structure in place.
I suppose in terms of having contacts and people to talk to, I mean, that's not many better people to speak to than if you look at a club like Brighton, how well that's been set up.
Yeah, well, that comes from my 16 years of being an agent. There's not many managers, many CEOs or anything I can really speak to, but that's the side when you bring an agent into this sort of side as a sporting director in the club. That's what you kind of get. You get someone that's been 16 years on the road of every single club out there, pretty much. So yeah, they're good people to reach into, to tap into, and I've done that with a few other people as well, just because knowledge is power, isn't it?
Definitely, it sounds like a very busy role to say the least. So how can you and how do you separate your personal life from this professional life?
It's tough. I think you want to ask Carly that question. But my family get involved. I think everyone's seen Carly and Piper, my daughter, that's been at the game. And last season, Piper, my daughter, was the girl that ran on the field with Pete's son Ollie, where everyone thought Pete had 2 children. But the girl was actually my daughter that kept on running on to do the fist pumps with Pete after. So it's quite cute. It's like, they're just involved. I know they're proud of what we're doing and what we're achieving and stuff, and they've really bought into this. So separate is hard. Football's like 24/7, but we have our downtime, but football is our life, and it's what pays the bills and what I love to do. So they're involved heavily, and it's a good experience. Piper even started playing football off the back of coming. She wanted to go and play in a football team, so she's only 8, so it's one of them where she's had to play with boys, but she enjoyed doing that as well.
I suppose overall, everything you just said there kind of just radiates the ethos of the club. That is kind of just like, no matter who you are or whatever, everyone just gives a hand at something they can do.
Oh, 1,000,000%. That's just, that's the ethos kind of thing of what we're bred on a little bit here. It's sort of like, if someone's a bit down, someone will talk to someone. If someone sees a bit low, then someone will put their arm around them here. It's a bit of a family sort of unit, and that's what we want. We want, and that's what I think people are seeing on the pitch a little bit at this moment in time. If you see the game at the weekend, where you can see that we won that game on just unity, let alone tactics and the substitutions and everything building up to that game. There was a large proportion of that team was together on Saturday, and then you look at the celebrations after the game, and you just go, look how much that means to everyone. And it does to me as well. I'm the person standing up in the crowd in the middle of all the away fans, and everyone looking at me, telling me to sit down, because I just get carried away, because you just, this is what we want to achieve. We want to achieve that.
And like you say, like this weekend, obviously it was a great weekend for the club. Like you say, that unity was really on display. And one player who's recently got off the mark quite well is Dom Telford. He's now got a few goals in the last, I think, 4 league games. And just in terms of breaking into the club, how much of an easy decision was that for you?
Yeah, I think any player you have to we answer questions to and see where that can actually lead to. Is it good for the club? Is it affordable? Does he suit the style? This, that, and the other. And we went for this summer. We went for athletic. We went for quite a lot of height. And from a point of view of when we look at, say, Jamie Proctor's, even Jed Gardner, they're 6'2". Emil 6'3". You need a little bit of a pocket rocket, someone that can bury the chances that's in the box. And Dom has done that all of his all of his career. He had that season where everyone talks about, of course, the Newport County season, but he knows how to finish. And when you get an opportunity to sign a Dom, it's a real conversation. And when you realise actually it's achievable, then it's a longer conversation to be had. And kudos to Dom and for coming as well, because he could have just stayed or there was other options. So yeah, it worked out well. And to get Dom, Barrow fans must have been buzzing, to be fair. I was, so yeah.
And in terms of talking about another name who's come in here over the summer, I mean, to have a defender or a player just with the calibre of James Chester, I mean, just how big is that for the club?
Yeah, James has been unreal since he's come in. He's come in and just shown the way a little bit as well. Another one of those characters, he picks up the cones. So small things, but when people hear me say pick up the cones or move this, this guy's played in the Premiership. He's played for Wales numerous amounts of times. And the guy's leading the way with picking up bibs, cones, just generally a calm character to have around. He was in with us for a while, just had to get up to standard. Then he's had a few games. And then I'll imagine he's needed those games, and he would admit that. And then we're starting to see the fruits of the labour that's gone in from that. So we're getting a James Chester that's hungry. I know that he's doing it for his kids. He's got 2 young kids. I know that he's doing it for that as well. And I think he sees something building here. And when someone's had that much experience around other clubs, other teams, and he's complimenting, I think we're doing the right thing.
And overall, it was obviously quite a busy summer, a lot of names in, a lot of names out, but it's good to see that the squad has, gelled so quickly and clearly seems all so together both on and off the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's a winning mentality, isn't it? It's a winning mentality to have players that work with each other every single day. You've got to get on, but in football, there can be those ups. People are left off the starting 11, can be on the bench frustrated, not even in the squad right now. But there doesn't seem to be any sort of atmosphere at all. It's sort of like, right, I'll get my chance, I'll get my opportunity. And that's what Pete, Temps, Jason, Lils, all of those people have put into place and made that sort of atmosphere. And kudos to those guys for doing that.
One final thing to talk about, obviously, in terms of talking about the summer as well, is the introduction of the B team. In terms of also that mindset of the players, it's great to see that mindset not only carries over from the first team, but they play like it's a first team match when they're playing in that B team game as well. Yeah,
it's kind of like a bit of an old school Resi's, because we don't have loads of B team players right now. One of the things that when we started it up, because they train with the first team, they can't be first team training session killers. They can't just kill a session because all the first team boys won't be having it. So the people that we've brought in, and that's why it's 4 of them currently, is because they actually have got an opportunity to play in the first team, and they train every single day, learn the traits, learn how we're trying to build something here, so they can just be cherry picked straight in, like Sean scoring his first goal the other day. Brilliant for him. He's the smiliest kid ever. He walks around with a massive smile on his face. You can tell that he just loves football and stuff, and that's what you want. They're the success stories that you want to build. But the B team / Resi's gives us an opportunity to, with the squad size that we've got, to get some game time into some of the other lads. We've got a game against Preston, and the lads that haven't been playing much, straight into the Resi game at 1 o'clock. Then they get 90 minutes under their belt, ready to be selected for a Saturday game. Last season we didn't have that. I remember myself and Pete just ringing around people saying, can we have a game? Can we have it? And then all of a sudden, even we got cancelled on the day. So in the morning, but this is again structured. This is structured where we have to play the games. So yeah, it's been really good. It's been really good.
I suppose overall it's an opportunity for when the club doesn't have an academy to still have a couple of those younger players to grow with the club.
Yeah, we have to make money. The club needs to make money of selling players, let alone keep pushing forward and moving forward. The owners don't have an endless pot, and we need to have some sort of avenue of generating revenue. And they don't scream about it, they don't shout about it, they don't put any pressure on me at all to say, we've got to do this. They're actually the opposite. It's me that's actually saying to them, look, we need to put this stuff in place to see, you know, nowadays if you play an 18, 19-year-old on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock and you play them for 4 months because they're good enough to continue playing, you're getting all the Championship and the Prem with their B teams or their under 23s, and they come looking, and that's where, you know, we need to get that model. But again, that's possibly a longer term thing as well, and maybe, you know, one day that we will see that sort of happen.
Iain, thank you so much for joining us today. It's felt like a really productive chat, and I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Thanks, Ethan.